Hey everyone, welcome to episode 410 of the All Dolphins podcast on this Monday, November 18th, 2024, the day after the Miami Dolphins made it two in a row. First winning streak of the 2024 season. Although somebody pointed out to me on Twitter, it's not a winning streak if it's only two.
Back-to-back victories.
Is it like it has to be at least three?
Yes, for a streak. It's back-to-back victories. It's two in a row.
Oh.
So all right, that's the end of
We
the
had
show.
to go there.
Sorry. That's
We
the
had
end
to
of the
go
show.
there. We will speak about the young quarterback today on this episode, as well as recap the game against the Las Vegas Raiders, and we'll touch upon the news. And to do that, I'm going to be joined here again, as you can see, by Chris Perkins from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. How are you, Perk?
I'm good, man. I'm gonna cook some turkey legs tonight, and as I watch the Houston Dallas game, man, little intra Texas rivalry there.
I know this is going to bring you back home, Mr. Perkins, being from Texas himself.
Yep. Used to live by that. Well, I lived by where the old baseball stadium was in the 90s. When Nolan Ryan and Jose Canseco were there, I lived like a half mile from that stadium. I could walk to it.
The Astrodome?
No, Texas Rangers in Arlington. I lived in Arlington.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they're playing in Arlington tonight, Jerry's World.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick recap of the Monday news. There wasn't a whole lot in terms of news, which actually is usually good news, because when you get news on a Monday, it's either a player going on IR or somebody's going to be out for a while. Not the case here. Raheem Mostert, as per head coach Mike McDaniel, came out of the game okay despite the hip injury. It contributed, I would say, in part to him getting only 10 offensive snaps. And I say only in part because if it's not already obvious, gang, it should be like they might as well put out a marquee to say Devon Achane is RB1. Perk, this is the part where you jump in and say, yes, you're right.
Yeah, you are right. I was having some
now we can move
I was having some streaming issues there. But yeah, you're right. Because Mostert had, I believe, 8 snaps against Buffalo, right? And so he is kind of on the way out. Not against Buffalo, against
Rams.
The Rams. But that fumble against Buffalo, he's on his way out. And we see Achane. Achane might be your offensive MVP right now. He probably is, right? I mean, Teron, Tua has missed 4 games, so that, Jonnu is an emerging force, but it might be Achane right now. But the point is, Achane is your number one. Jalen Wright didn't get a whole lot of action from scrimmage yesterday. They're going with Achane and Jonnu Smith as the heads of this newfangled offense right now, and it's working.
It is working. Certainly worked yesterday. They are being highly efficient. And before we get into that, and a column that I wrote today about Tua, which may surprise a lot of people, but we'll get to that. The other news from Mike McDaniel was basically talking about Isaiah Wynn and his week of practice, which was good. However, McDaniel made the point the last thing he wants to do is you activate him, put him in a game, and there's a setback. So they're going to be careful, take their time with him. Same with Tyler Huntley, who's now eligible to come off IR and be designated to return. Same deal. Blake Ferguson is still eligible to come off the reserve non-football illness list. But, hey, the Dolphins are 2-0 with Tucker Addington as their long snapper. Why mess with success?
That's right. I mean, that guy's a winner everywhere he goes, right? Tucker, I mean, come on, man. I'll say this about about what we're seeing with the Dolphins is that they're showing a lot of versatility. They're showing us that they can win in a different way, and we're seeing that in the lineup. And look, we've seen different personnel. We're seeing a different style of play. We've seen them stay fairly healthy also, and I know Austin Jackson is out. I do have one. Well, I know. I know. Come on. We never talk injuries. I do have one thing though. Like, there's such an obsession with Isaiah Wynn. How much better is he going to be than Rob Jones? And you wonder about anybody who comes back at this stage of the year. However, you think that Bradley Chubb would probably be better than Chop, although Chop is coming along, or Agba. I don't know that Wynn is going to be much better than Rob Jones. Wynn wasn't, Chubb was a Pro Bowl performer. Wynn never was. So I know that we're obsessed as the media, and there's some fans that are obsessed. I'm not sure that he's going to be much of I'm not sure he would be a meaningful upgrade over Rob Jones.
It also depends how close he can get back to his 2023 form when he was solid for the Dolphins for 7 games. I don't know that he was a Pro Bowl guy, but he was solid. Solid. Robert Jones right now is dealing with an injury. He played through it against the Raiders on Sunday. Not his best performance. I saw a couple of plays where he got beaten pretty clearly. But overall, he's done a solid job. And you make a very good point, again, because we don't know when win's going to be when it's going to be a win-win. We don't know. We don't know.
Nice.
That's just too easy. And then going back to the last point too is the long snapper is they're 2-0 with Tucker Addington. They were 0-3 with Matt Overton. So clearly that was.
There you go. And what about Blake Ferguson's body of work? You're just throwing that out? The man's been to 2 playoffs.
Well, Blake Ferguson, they were 1-2. No, 5. They were 1.
What about 2022, 2023?
Excellent.
The man led them to playoffs, Poop.
That's an excellent point.
I mean, come on.
I take that back. But
his brother's team just knocked off the undefeated Chiefs. I mean, that Ferguson family. Come on now.
Reed Ferguson and the Bills defeated the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. That's an excellent point. Let us not forget that. And the other issue with Blake Ferguson is I know Danny Crossman said he didn't want to keep rotating guys that they elevate from the practice squad for 3 games. However, there's a matter of taking up roster spots, and if you activate Blake Ferguson, that means somebody has to go. Same with Tyler Huntley, same with Isaiah Wynn. So there's that to keep in mind. Okay, let's move on to what the Dolphins have accomplished. And I can hear the echoes. Nothing. They have won 2 in a row.
Yep.
They have put themselves within striking position is the way I'd phrase it. And I wrote about the playoff picture on Miami Dolphins on SI.com. And again, if the Dolphins take care of the one issue that was missing last year, which is the quality wins on the road against, the playoff type opponents, it's definitely there for them. I mean, in fact, Steve Mariucci on NFL Network yesterday said, they had this big skit sponsored by a hardware store. I don't want to say the wrong one, so I'm not going to say it. And all sort of puns on tools and all that. And he was basically saying, don't discount the Dolphins. And I am absolutely telling you, don't discount the Dolphins.
I would agree. And as I've said, it's the season is a race to the 9s, right? 9 wins or 9 losses. And really the path to the playoffs remains you've got to beat the non-playoff teams. And I'm considering the remaining teams on the schedule that are playoff teams, basically the teams that are 500 or better, right? Green Bay, Houston, San Francisco. That's it. You've got to win 5 of the last 7, which means you would probably have to beat one of those 3 opponents if you take care of business in those other 4, 2 against the Jets, 1 against Cleveland, and 1 against the Patriots. So the path to the playoffs is there. We can get into the revamped Dolphins and the new offense, but yeah, I agree with you.
We will.
But the path to the playoffs is there. It's the same path to the playoffs that the Dolphins took last year, right? You beat the non-playoff teams on your schedule, and you're going to get there. So that's the big challenge for the Dolphins right now. It's the same challenge that you had at the start of the season, but you're taking a different approach to winning these games now.
Correct, because now the bombs away offense has gone into a move the chains, ball control offense, and where they have been very, very good. And this is where hat tip to Tua, because to me, he's elevated his game. In fact, I wrote today that to me, he's playing the best ball of his career for 2 very important reasons. Is number one, he's been lights out on 3rd down the last 4 games. The Dolphins are converting at a 60% clip. It's on my column on Miami Dolphins on SI.com, which is outrageous. The NFL leader for the season is Kansas City, and they're at 51%, I think it was. So going 60% over the 4-game stretch is really, really good. And a lot of those are Tua making the great plays, making the good throws and all that. And then the other factor, something he's added to his game this year that we saw at times. Again, this is where well, you say can't complete a deep pass. It was there always. The question is, can you do it on a consistent basis? Again, plays off schedule, moving around the pocket. This is something, yes, he had done it before, but now he's doing it on a consistent basis. There was one to Waddle yesterday. There was a really, really nice play, moved around the pocket very well, strike on the run, and the touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill as well was the same deal. Those elements, right now, if he's going to continue to be that clutch on third down and make plays off schedule like that, I mean, this is an offense that, even though the big plays have basically disappeared, and I don't count the one with Jonnu yesterday, that's a fluke where the Raiders tried to cover nobody, defensive tactic, which never works out very well. Right. But outside of that, the dude's playing really, really well.
Yeah, he is. And, here's my thing with the Dolphins and this offense now is that my hat is off to the Dolphins. My hat is off to Mike McDaniel because they have switched. We're seeing this is the third time in recent memory that we're seeing a midseason offensive switch, right? 2008 with the Wildcat, 2016, you go in with the pass offense. You start off 1-4. Hey, here's Jay Ajayi with back-to-back 200-yard games. Let's run the ball. And so this is the third time that I can think of in recent memory that there's been a in-season, mid-season philosophical offensive change. Can it work? I don't know. And here's why I say I don't know, that this team is not really built for this. They're doing well right now. But look, Raheem, you're going to go into the Green Bay game with Tua, Jonnu Smith, and Devon Achane as your leaders of the offense. I'm not sure that that's going to work. I'm not saying it's not going to work. I'm saying I need to see this work against a good team. It didn't work against Buffalo. It did work against the Rams. But it worked yesterday. It'll work again this Sunday. It worked against the Raiders. It'll work against the Patriots. But Green Bay is another test. And I'm not saying that Green Bay is going to the Super Bowl. I mean, they're 7-3. They're not a world beater team. They're good, but they're not a world beater team. It's a good test for this offense. Accordingly, look, Houston is not a world beater team. San Francisco, there might not be a 10-win team on the rest of this schedule. They might all be 9 wins, right? San Francisco, Houston, Green Bay will be a 10-win team. Houston and San Francisco, I don't know. But, we still need to see this new offense work, and we need to see it work on the road against a good team. So I'm not poo-pooing this victory. I'm not poo-pooing this offense. What I'm saying is, for the last 2 years, all we heard and saw was big play, Tua to Tyreek, Tua to Waddle, number 1 rated offense, analytics, next gen stats, miles per hour, air yards. And now you're telling me that this is a defense and run game team. Well, I got to see it. That's what I'm saying about the offense, is that this is a good philosophical switch, but I've got to see more than 4 games and a 2-2 record.
Except this is where I would disagree with you, my friend. To me, against Buffalo, the offense played more than well enough to win. So I don't discount that performance. To me, they lost the game. Yes, the offense could have done a little bit more, but they essentially lost the game because the defense, dealing with injuries, couldn't contain Josh Allen and the Bills' offense well enough. What?
Okay, well,
the offense played better against. Hold on, the offense played better against the Bills than it did against the Rams. Would you not agree?
I would agree. Yes, I would agree.
Well,
but here's my thing with this offense. Okay, that you paid these guys to be special, right? Tua and Tyreek and Waddle and Mike McDaniel. Being special is not beating the Rams. It's not beating Oakland. Being special is going up to Buffalo, where Josh Allen has put 34 on you, 32 on you, 48 on you, and let's have this offense outscore Josh. You're not stopping Josh Allen up in Buffalo. Ask Kansas City. You're not stopping this man from scoring 30 points. You have to outscore him, right? Look at what he's done to you, 32, 34, 48. You're
But
not holding him to under. So in that one game, in that one game, in that one instance, when you're in Buffalo, you need that offense to score 30. That's why you can't have that Raheem Mostert fumble. But the offense did play well. I don't think it's the defense's fault. That defense, no Chubb, no Phillips, no Sealer, no Kohu, no Storm Duck, no Javon Holland, and you're telling them go stop Josh Allen at his house? No, Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle, you have to outscore that man. That particular game, you have to outscore him, okay? The games down here where you've held him to 21 twice, I know he scored 31 on you here. Okay, score 27 and blame it on the defense if you don't win. I'm just saying up there, you've got to outscore Josh. You're not holding him to under 30. That's not the defense's fault. I know you disagree. Everybody disagrees with me.
Well, that's because you're crazy. I'm sorry. What? No, and I said this, and I don't frame it quite the same way you do, where I don't. The loss to me is not on the offense, but if you want that offense to be recognized as special, yes, they could have done more in that game. This is the
That's
point.
a good way to phrase it.
This is the point I'm making. And then yesterday was very highly efficient. The only issue with the style of offense they're playing now is, generally speaking, it requires more plays in the drive to get to the end zone. And the more plays you have on offense, the more chances there are for penalties, for turnovers, and things like that. They were very, very good in terms of playing mistake-free against the Raiders. And the Raiders right now are ranked 15th in the NFL in total defense.
Mm-hmm.
Did not look like a 15th ranked defense to me yesterday at all. They were missing a starting quarterback to coming into the game, and they lost their other starting quarterback like immediately.
Right.
That makes a difference. But what the Dolphins did very well, again, they protected the ball. There were very few penalties, and they did a majorly good job on Max Crosby.
They did. I have no complaints about the offense. I want to see it. I wonder if they can come back if they get behind because the big play is gone, but that's fine. We'll get to that when we get to it. The thing is, I look at this offense, and you were number 1 in the league last year, number 6 in the league 2 years ago, and so you're going to be a better offense than that in this short amount of time. I've got to see it to believe it. I understand you're not going to be as flashy, not going to be as statistically impressive. You can be a better offense. You can be a more efficient offense. You can win differently. I'm just saying I need to see more than 4 weeks of evidence when you have, and in those 4 weeks, you have a 2-2 record with a loss to Buffalo. So that's all I'm saying is I can believe it. I just need to see more evidence of it. You can't just tell me mid-season, hey, we're shifting, and now I'm supposed to buy in all of a sudden. I'm just saying I need to see more.
Except this is where I would counter by saying if the Dolphins were operating offensively the same way they did last year with, a couple of 45-yard passes every game, I would feel less confident heading down the stretch against good opponents who I know will take that away than I now, having seen the Dolphins basically convert to something else, and then Tua talking about and doing it very, very well, like being more patient. And again, creating things off schedule, making the clutch throws on third down. Now, can they sustain that? Once we get past this game again, they're playing New England.
Right.
By the way, I know I got crap on Twitter for suggesting it was almost ball game when they made it 17-6 against the Raiders. Folks, I mean, there are certain games that are kind of clear. I'm not going to say the Patriots are like that, but they're kind of like that. But then we get into the real meat of the schedule with Green Bay.
And look, and look, I like seeing this because remember, I'm the one who kept saying you need to change this offense. You need to diversify it. That your offense is about two things: Tyreek Hill and the threat of Tyreek Hill. And I like what I'm seeing now. I'm happy. All I'm saying is I need to see more than a 4-week sample. That's all. And look, I'll say this also, Poop. Let's not move the goalpost here, right? The successful season goalpost is winning a playoff game. That offense is not at that level yet. I understand that it's November. It's not January. It doesn't need to be at that level yet. But what I'm saying is, don't just introduce this offense to me and expect me to buy in 100% after 4 games. I'm that's all I'm saying is I know fans are fired up. I'm not poo-pooing the offense. I'm just saying I need to see more. That's all. I need to be convinced.
No, I get you, but I think, again, to me, where I sit right now, I feel more confident about the Dolphins being able to handle good defensive down the stretch than I did last year when it was always when they play a good team, all those bombs to Tyreek are not going to be there. And this year they might not be there, but they're not living off of them. You know?
No, you're not. You've got a deeper an offense that, look, if you take this offense and look, if you make the playoffs, you're probably going to be at Baltimore, at Pittsburgh, at Buffalo, at Kansas City. I trust this offense more than the 2022 or 2023 offenses because of the style of play. You are correct. And I buy into that. I support that. I commend Mike McDaniel and Tua and everybody. That it's a good change. I like it. I'm all for it.
Okay, we're agreed. We're in agreement.
We are. I'm all for the change.
And I'm with you that it still needs to be shown how that's going to work at Green Bay, at Houston, at home against San Francisco.
Right.
But I feel better about it than I did last year. Okay. Whoa, look at this. Look,
That's right. That's right.
There we go, with the hearts.
Yep.
I have to do the hearts at least once an episode. Any surprise from your end that it was Storm Duck who got the call as the outside cornerback when the Dolphins were in nickel and Kader Kohu was in the slot and not Cam Smith?
No surprise. The way that Storm plays, he's a very aggressive player. He goes after that ball. He makes tackles. He's a good unball defender. Cam, I still do have faith in Cam Smith. And the reason is this team does a good job finding cornerbacks. I know Noah Igbenogany and Cordray Tankersley are very fresh in the rearview mirror. I know. Why am I bringing up old stuff? I know Cordray catching strays. But for the most part, they do a good job, whether it's Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Kader Kohu, Kendall Fuller. I almost said Jordan Fuller again. I caught myself. Chris Greer has done a good job finding corners. Is Cam Smith going to be a part of that group? I don't know, but just given their cornerback history, they have a very high success rate. And so I'm keeping the faith in Cam. I'm thumbs up on Storm Duck. I'm all in on Storm Duck. But we'll see with Cam. I'm optimistic because of the franchise's recent history.
One other factor on offense we forgot to mention, both of us.
Alec Ingold.
How did you know?
The run game, the last 2 weeks, baby. That's it. He's the factor.
It's been inconsistent, the run game. And Alec Ingold absolutely makes a difference when he's in there. And he's going to be in there, hopefully, for those games down the stretch. And that adds another dimension. So absolutely. You were about to mention Jordan Fuller. There's another Jordan who, after what I thought was a good performance against the Rams, took a massive step back yesterday.
Yeah.
David Long, who, by the way, has signed with the Detroit Lions practice squad, was demoted from the starting lineup. Should we not be considering that with Jordan Poyer, or at the very least stop having him cover tight ends one-on-one?
Here's the interesting thing, Poop. Has Mike McDaniel changed his ways? Durham Smythe snaps are cut. Raheem Mostert snaps from scrimmage cut. David Long demoted and then waived. What happens with Jordan Poyer? What happens? Do they trust Marcus May? Do they trust Elijah Campbell? Or is that a factor here? But yeah, Poyer missing that. He got caught up in traffic on that Brock Bowers type touchdown, and then missed the tackle, and it was just like, boy, you can't have that happen. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think this probably comes down to, do you trust Marcus May? Because now that we've seen this happen with David Long, a team captain, somebody who the players voted as a team captain, and he was demoted. And Raheem Mostert, Mike McDaniel's buddy, he's been basically demoted. The gloves are off. So I think that they would take action if they trusted the backup, right? It's like, okay, you can fire the coach, but who are you going to hire? So that might be where we're at with this safety position.
No, I agree, and this is why I know a lot of fans are calling for the dude to be benched. But again, the coaches watched practice the entire week. If they legitimately felt there was somebody better right now, I don't think they would be doing it just because Jordan's a good guy and they signed him in the offseason and he's got great intangibles, a good leader. Ultimately the idea is to try to win games. So I think that's all I have from here. Any parting thoughts?
No, I don't think so. I mean, what I know. Once again,
whimper of a finish.
I do like what's going on with the offense. I think we know the rest of that sentence for me, but I seriously really like what's going on with the offense. I like that it's varied. It's got some diversity to it. It's got some depth to it. You're even utilizing OBJ on occasion. Your slot receiver, tight end, run game, and yes, once they get Alec Ingold back, if they can keep Teron Armstead healthy, the outlook is very, very good for this offense.
And my final point on this also is, just because there are no long passes right now, it doesn't mean if teams start to cheat closer to the line of scrimmage that you can't go over the top. So again, this is good that the Dolphins are doing this, expanding what they do on offense and being productive. I mean, hell, for the first 6 games of the regular season, Dolphins never topped 20 points.
Remember this, Poop, that this is, I mean, you could look, when you talk about the deep passes, you could kind of look at this as training camp for Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle, because this, 4-week stretch is the longest they've been together this year. Remember, Tua had the hold in, Tyreek missed parts of training camp, Waddle missed parts of training camp, and then Tua gets the concussion. So this is almost, you could look at this as their training camp, and then in December, right, you know those over-the-top opportunities within this run game, and that comes available. So, there's plenty of reason to be optimistic. We just need to be patient, but I like the change that was made.
Okay, and we say all of this not to create false hope, but also because it's a clear possibility the Dolphins could make a run for the playoffs. Understanding they have they have very little margin for error. Understanding that Denver Broncos or Indianapolis Colts could become problematic, because I know the Colts for a fact don't have a very tough schedule remaining. They pulled one out yesterday to move to 5-6, and they have the tiebreaker against the Dolphins. Denver, because that defense is legit.
Yes.
And even though Atlanta's not a great team, but the way the Broncos spanked them yesterday tells you they could be an issue down the line. And hell, even the Bengals, if they ever play, like a microscopic amount of defense, they could reel off some games. Even though at 4-7 they're in trouble, but they're not. I'm not quite ready to dismiss them like the Jets. The Jets are done. Bye bye.
Yeah. They're done.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks as always. Perk catches work at sunsentinel.com. Check out the Dolphins deep dive on sunsentinel.com. That's coming up Tuesday at noon.
Yep.
And catch my work at Miami Dolphins on SI.com. We'll be back here tomorrow, probably. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thanks, everyone, for watching. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day.